It is the middle of summer, and due to intense heat waves, temperatures are reaching nearly 40 degrees Celsius in the Gold Coast. Due to this, our keepers have been making sure all the animals are staying cool with huge blocks of ice for the animals to eat, as well as keeping the animals hydrated and allowing access to shelter if needed. Keeping our animals cool is especially important due to us having two newborn joeys, our 1-month-old kangaroo joey Kia, and our newest member of Spinifex Zoo that recently left Willow's pouch, our 2-week-old koala joey. Meet Stitch. Stitch is our newest and youngest member of Spinifex Zoo. He has only recently been exploring out of his pouch and seems to be incredibly curious of his new environment and making sure he explores every corner of his new home. Spring and summer is a very busy time for zoos in Australia, as this is the time where most animals in the country reach their breeding season. Spinifex Zoo is no exception, with our first birth of Kia and our second birth now of Stitch. Our blue fairy penguins also seem to be setting up for something exciting to come. With our staff lineup growing larger, this means our keepers have been able to get more done and build larger bonds with the animals. This has especially been shown in the dingo enclosure, as we recently rescued Dee Dee and Bungie from Fraser Island due to them being extremely aggressive. But with our keepers' care and love, they seem to be more tame and loving towards people, allowing the keepers to safely enter their enclosure without worry. The dingoes also seem to love their enclosure, as Crane & Co Construction did an amazing job mimicking their natural environment, with lush foliage, sandy ground, and lots of rocks. And due to the heat, we even implemented a small pool for them to keep cool in, which they love. And now that their enclosure is complete, and our predator-prey walkthrough has its animals, we can begin construction on our newest grasslands enclosure. But for what animal, you may ask? As Cooper Lewis plans out our grasslands enclosure, we are stuck thinking about what animal we could house there. As staff checked on our animals, we got a call from a wildlife sanctuary saying that they are planning on renovating their Australia section and isn't planning on housing red-necked wallabies anymore, and they were wondering if we would like to take them and house them at our zoo. We have decided to help rehouse their 3 red-necked wallabies. These 3 seem to be healthy and well fed due to the wildlife sanctuary, and seem to be very friendly, which has allowed us to easily take them over to the Gold Coast Wildlife Shelter for a small 2-week quarantine, which allows Crane & Co Constructions to begin building the wallabies enclosure. So how about we begin building? The plans for this build are simple. Right next to the wombat enclosure is where we will be building the wallaby enclosure. I want it to seem like a natural grasslands open field. If you're enjoying this series so far and want to keep track on every upload, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to like and comment, even if it's something small like a name suggestion, as it really helps this channel out. Meet the red-necked wallaby. These guys are said to be least conserved by the IUCN, with a population of unknown. For 3 adult wallabies, we need about 340 square meters of land, but we don't need any climbing, water, or deep diving requirements. The group size is from 1 to 30, and we only have 3, so that's fine for us. This page has all the enrichment items, and it doesn't seem like anything is new to us, so it should be fine for now. And on the final page it shows that the wallaby can share an enclosure with the emu and red kangaroo, but we won't be housing any of those with them. To begin this build, I want there to be a moat separating guests from the wallaby, but still keep them on the same terrain level. Obviously, to start the moat, we've got to lower the terrain to prevent both the wallabies and guests from getting too close to each other. I want this enclosure to look like a little Australian grasslands area, with guests having the feeling of also being in that same grasslands environment by having the viewing area at the same level as the enclosure. I'm making this part of the moat sloped a bit more, so just in case the wallabies accidentally fall inside, they'll be able to get back up pretty easily. Due to the terrain not being perfect, I'll add some mulch around the sides of the moat to make the ground more flat and available. And to add more realism to the moat, I'll add some dirt patches around, as well as some nettle, buffalo grass, and some moss decals to make it seem more run down. The enclosure is nowhere near done, and obviously this doesn't look the best so far, but as we build more, it'll come together perfectly. Now that the moat is complete, we've got to complete the rest of the barrier and the shelter for this enclosure, which I'll be using the kangaroo shelter as inspiration, as well as the rock walls for the rest of the barrier. I want to begin by creating the outline of the shelter with the wooden walls, and make sure that the shape is perfected with a way for the wallabies to get in and out of it. To make it look less blank, I'll add windows as well as some bricks on the bottom of the walls to create more layers and add depth to the shelter. This also creates a lot more detail to make your builds more realistic if you want to use this hack. Similar to the kangaroo shelter, I'll be using wooden plank floors so that I can add some padding for the wallabies to lay on during the night. And now that we've added the floors, it's time to add the roof. Again, similar to the kangaroo enclosure, we will be using the exact same type of roof, but a different design. We also can't forget about these support beams to add realism. We will again use the exact same type of pens for these wallabies, as they need pretty similar things when it comes to the pens and sleeping area. This is how it looks now, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty similar to the kangaroo enclosure, but that was done on purpose. Now that the shelter is 100% complete, we've got to use the rock walls to create the rest of the barrier. When originally doing this barrier, I made it way too square, so this time when I'm trying, I decided to make the rocks seem more rounded, which also doesn't create any awkward angles. Now that I've connected the right side of the enclosure from the rock walls at the wombat enclosure to the wallaby shelter, I've now headed to the left side to make sure that there's no gaps that guests or animals could go through. Now this is looking so much better and I can see my vision coming to light, but there's still a few things we have to do before we can allow the wombats to enter their enclosure. We've got the barrier in place, but we are forgetting one small thing, and that's the fence that separates the people from the enclosure. I did forget to start recording, but that's okay because this fence looks pretty good, and it definitely matches the background very well. But now it's time for the actual enclosure to start seeing some progress. Well, the first thing I want to do is add some small rock piles, as I want this to look not only natural, but also add some climbing enrichment for wallabies, as wallabies can be seen climbing steep hills. And then I'll start adding some pebbles around for more natural realism. The enclosure is coming together perfectly, and once we add plants, it's pretty much done. But we are forgetting one more step, and that's the enrichment. But with a little editing, everything is in place. And finally, the plants are the last thing that we need to add. This shouldn't be too hard as wallabies live in grassland, and so all we need is really a few trees from Australia and different types of grasses. I'll be adding 3 types of trees, the corkwood tree, ghost gum tree, and a sycamore maple tree. And then obviously after that, we will be adding lots of grass. And I mean lots of grass. And finally, once we're done adding grass, we will add some more grass. But this grass will be used to add different height levels to the grass. So we have some shorter grass and some taller grass. Now that we are done adding the grass, I decided to get some large nettles so we can have a slightly bigger variety of plants in this enclosure. It is officially time to say that this enclosure is 99% complete, and it turned out exactly how I pictured it, which is great. All the grass heights and plant variety makes this enclosure pop. But what's that? I think the wallabies are on their way. Our wallabies have officially been introduced to their new enclosure, and I don't think they could have asked for anything more. They seem to be exploring a little too much, and they're having a great time hopping around every corner of their new enclosure, and I don't think Creating Co-Constructions could have done a better job, as this enclosure perfectly mimics their natural grasslands habitat. With our wallabies settling down, and as the temperature during the night gets cooler, Spinifex Zoo will have more obstacles to face, Spinifex Zoo has got to work fast to complete this zoo, as Planet Zoo 2 is just 4 months away, which means a new series awaits. Well, with that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to like and comment, even if it's something small like a name suggestion. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye.